She couldn't run, she couldn't speak, and as the years passed, even breathing became an act of courage. To the world, Emily Grace Rowan was the girl in room 9, a fragile body, a medical file, a whisper of what could have been. But inside that silent frame was a full, blazing life. She knew every nurse's name. She remembered birthdays. She dreamed of snowball fights and warm cinnamon rolls and the sound of her own laughter. But more than anything, she longed to hear just one thing: her name, not from a clipboard, not followed by a diagnosis, not reduced to a chart or a case, but spoken like a song, like it belonged to someone real, to someone seen. For 18 years she waited, through pain, through pity, through the loneliness of being treated like a body, not a soul. And in her final days, when time was slipping and voices grew softer, her one wish wasn't for more years, more doctors, or more medicine. It was this: please just say my name and mean it. Why did no one speak it before? And who finally broke the silence? Emily Grace Rowan was born on a stormy Tuesday in a quiet Vermont hospital, 7 weeks early, 3 pounds, 7 ounces. So small, her father said she looked like a breath wrapped in skin. From the beginning, life was an uphill climb. Doctors whispered terms like spinal muscular atrophy, degenerative, life limiting. They warned her parents she might not live past her 5th birthday. But Emily had her own timeline. She couldn't roll over on her own, but she could light up a room with her eyes. Couldn't speak, but her laugh, light, sudden, breathy, could crack open any silence. She couldn't lift a crayon, but painted sunsets with her mouth. Her parents, Anna and Caleb, made home a haven. Soft blankets, sloped ramps, bookshelves always within reach. Her older brother James read to her every night, sometimes fantasy, sometimes history, always stories where the overlooked character turned out to be the quiet hero. For a while, school was a dream come true. Her parents fought for inclusion. Emily entered 1st grade with a classroom aide, adaptive tech, and a bright yellow wheelchair. Kids were curious at first, some cautious, some kind. A few became friendly, even affectionate. But as the years passed, the gap grew. Birthday parties went uninvited. Group projects happened around her, not with her. Even recess, once her favorite time to watch and laugh, became a daily reminder of everything she couldn't join. She had one close friend, Zoe, from grades 2 through 5. Zoe didn't mind the eye tracking device or the speech delays. But when Zoe moved away, no one filled the space. Emily was left orbiting conversations she could no longer enter, not without effort, not without someone willing to wait. By middle school, she was fully dependent on assistive tech. Her mobility continued to fade, slowly, then suddenly. Typing became blinking. Playdates became therapy sessions. School became remote. Still, she pushed on. She earned straight A's through high school, studied history, philosophy, even beginner French. Her teachers called her brilliant, but brilliance didn't solve logistics. By 17, her lung capacity had dropped so low, every breath became a negotiation. Home care hours were stretched, her mother worn thin, her father often silent with worry. When she turned 18, her medical team sat the family down. They said it gently. Emily needed full-time care, more than the home could safely provide. Her parents wept for days, not because they didn't understand, but because letting her go felt like breaking a promise. Emily blinked out her response one word at a time. "It's okay, I want you to rest too." She was transferred to the long-term wing of a small private hospital. Room 9, it wasn't home, it was sterile, quiet, gray, but she brought with her everything that mattered. Her history books, her painting taped to the wall, and a worn-down notebook where she had written years ago with her thumb, "I exist, even when no one's looking." For months she drifted through that space in stillness. The staff were kind, the days were long, her body continued its slow surrender. Most people didn't see her as a girl anymore. They saw a machine, a chart, a case file. Even the ones who meant well forgot she had favorite songs, that she once stayed up all night watching documentaries about ancient Egypt, that she had crushes, dreams, sarcastic jokes she couldn't say out loud, and more than anything, that she still missed the sound of her own name, said like it belonged to someone real, not someone dying, but someone alive. That longing sat quietly at the edge of every day in room 9 until the door opened and Mia walked in. Mia wasn't supposed to be assigned to Emily's wing. She was filling in for a volunteer who'd fallen sick. Just a name on a clipboard that morning. But fate, or something like it, had other plans. Mia was 19, a college sophomore on summer break. Not studying medicine, not chasing credentials. She just wanted to do something real, something that made people feel less alone. Her first day was quiet, sterile halls, beeping monitors, people in scrubs moving with polite efficiency. Then she passed room 9. There, behind a curtain of wires and softly blinking machines, she saw her, a girl her age, pale, still, eyes open. But what stopped Mia wasn't the medical equipment, it was the intensity in Emily's gaze, a look that wasn't lost or vacant, but vivid, awake, waiting. Most people hurried past room 9 or entered only when absolutely necessary. They mistook Emily's silence for vacancy. But Mia saw something else: presence, consciousness, loneliness, disguised as stillness. Something in Emily's eyes reminded Mia of a girl she used to know, brilliant, quiet, overlooked, and maybe that's why she didn't walk away. She stepped inside. No clipboard, no agenda, just a book tucked under her arm. "Hi," Mia whispered. "I'm Mia. I like reading poetry, baking really bad cookies, and, well, I talk a lot, so you've been warned." She sat down and opened the book. It was The Secret Garden. No one knew that it had once been Emily's favorite. She hadn't heard those words in years. But when Mia read the line, "Where you tend a rose, a thistle cannot grow," Emily's heart monitor ticked upward, just slightly, a shift, a signal. Mia kept coming back. Every day, she brought new books, played soft music, talked to Emily like a friend, not a patient, like someone who could still choose what she liked and disliked, like someone whose silence wasn't absence, but restraint. She didn't force anything. She waited. And Emily, who had long stopped expecting real connection, found herself blinking twice when Mia walked in. Yes, over time, they built a language. Eye blinks, alphabet boards, and infinite patience. Mia asked questions no one had asked in years. "What do you miss most about being outside? Do you like chocolate or vanilla? What's the first memory you remember clearly?" Emily's answers were slow, but they came, and with each one, room 9 changed. Then, one quiet afternoon, as light streamed through half-open blinds, Mia brought in a blank notebook. She placed it on Emily's tray and gently tapped the cover. Across the front, in handwritten letters, it read, "Emily's voice," and below that, in smaller writing, "What do you want to say?" Emily stared at the notebook. Longer than usual. She blinked 3 times. Yes, yes, yes. Mia leaned in. Tell me anything. For the next hour, they worked slowly, Emily blinking at letters, Mia jotting them down. It was exhausting, messy, imperfect, but it was freedom. Then came the pause. Mia, sensing something more, asked softly, "What do you wish people had said to you all those years?" Emily blinked, then blinked again, and letter by letter she spelled, "Say my name." Mia froze, not from confusion, but reverence. No one had ever asked her for something so simple or so sacred. She leaned closer, brushed a strand of Emily's hair away, and whispered, "Emily Grace Rowan." Then again, "Emily Grace Rowan." She said it slowly, tenderly, like a prayer. And for the first time in her life, Emily cried, not from pain, but because someone saw her and said her name like it mattered. From that day forward, Mia said her name every single morning. "Good morning, Emily Grace Rowan," and every night before leaving room 9. "Sleep well, Emily Grace Rowan. I'll be back tomorrow." Those weren't just words, they were oxygen. They were proof she was still here. Emily's vitals stabilized during Mia's visits. Her breathing grew smoother. Her eyes lingered longer on books, music, Mia's face. Something inside her, tucked beneath years of stillness, was waking up. Mia began helping Emily finish the notebook they'd titled Emily's Voice. Every day they filled in a little more. Emily's favorite quotes from books, her earliest memories of spring, the exact color of blue she saw in her dreams. Mia even brought in watercolor pens and painted little illustrations on each page. A snow-covered barn, a pressed daisy, a tiny figure in a wheelchair at the edge of a garden, looking up at a sky full of stars. For the first time in years, Emily wasn't just existing, she was expressing. Nurses began to notice. They lingered longer. They spoke to her, not just to the chart. Instead of "she's stable," they began saying, "Emily Grace smiled today." Emily blinked yes when I asked about the music. Emily seems more peaceful now. Even the hospital staff, who rarely spoke directly to patients, started pausing by room 9. Some knocked before entering. Others sat for a moment longer. And almost all of them, without being told, began to say her name. "Emily Grace Rowan." Mia, seeing the ripple growing, had an idea. She asked the hospital if they'd allow her to host a small gathering, just 15 minutes. No balloons, no cake, just voices. She called it the name circle. It was simple. One by one, staff members, volunteers, and even other patients came to Emily's room. They took turns kneeling beside her, looking into her eyes and saying, "Emily Grace Rowan, I'm honored to know you. Emily Grace Rowan, you are not forgotten. Emily Grace Rowan, thank you for teaching me how to see." Emily cried, quietly, openly. It was the first time since Zoe moved away that she had felt surrounded, not by pity, not by professionals, but by people. Mia took a photo of the moment, a wide shot of room 9, filled with smiling faces, sunlight filtering through the blinds, and a girl in the center of it all, beaming, tear-streaked, alive. And beneath the photo she wrote, "We said her name, and the world changed." Emily's notebook was nearly full now, but one page in the back remained blank, except for a folded sticky note. On it, Mia had written down something Emily had blinked out in the early days of their friendship. "If I go, please don't let them forget my name." Say it, out loud, again and again. Mia kept that note folded in her pocket every day, close to her heart, What she didn't know was how soon she'd need to keep that promise. Time has its own way of whispering goodbye. Emily's body had always moved slowly, but now it was slowing in ways even the machines couldn't mask. Her heart rate dipped more often. Her oxygen levels needed constant adjustment. Her gaze, once steady, began to drift for longer between blinks. Mia noticed it first. She didn't say anything to the staff right away. She just started arriving earlier, staying later, reading slower. There was no dramatic crash, no alarms blaring, just the quiet unraveling of a life already lived with so much quiet strength. Emily could no longer blink out full sentences. Even the letterboard grew too tiring. So Mia switched to yes-no questions, simple, gentle, careful. One evening, while the sky outside turned lavender and the hallway lights dimmed, Mia leaned in and asked, "Are you scared?" Emily blinked once. Number, "Are you in pain?" A pause, then one blink. Number, "Do you still want to hear it?" Emily blinked twice. Yes, and Mia knew. The time had come to keep her final promise. The next morning, Mia returned with the notebook, a small speaker, and a list of names. She had gathered everyone who mattered, everyone who had ever dared to see Emily as more than a chart, the nurses who had started saying her name with reverence, the janitor who always smiled and waved through the glass, the young therapist who brought her daffodils that one spring. Her parents came too, her mother holding on to her father like an anchor in a storm. Mia didn't say much. She just played Emily's favorite piano piece, opened the notebook on her lap, and began, "Emily Grace Rowan." Then the next person stepped forward. "Emily Grace Rowan, you changed me." Another, "Emily Grace Rowan, I'll remember your smile." Her father knelt beside her bed and whispered, "Emily Grace Rowan, you were my reason to get up every day." Her mother kissed her forehead and wept. "You were never a burden. You were always our miracle." Finally, Mia, she knelt where it all began, took Emily's hand, light, paper thin, and said, "Emily Grace Rowan, you're not lost. You are not small. You are not a whisper. You are thunder disguised as silence, and I will say your name for the rest of my life." Emily blinked once, then, slowly, again, a tear rolled down her cheek, and a few hours later, softly, peacefully, surrounded by love, Emily Grace Rowan took her final breath, but she did not pass in silence. She did not vanish nameless. She left this world not as a patient, not as a diagnosis, but as herself, Emily Grace Rowan. And in that sacred stillness, her final wish was fulfilled. She was seen, she was spoken, she was remembered. We live in a world that often equates value with volume, where being heard means being loud, and being seen means standing out. But what if true presence doesn't need to shout? What if the quietest life can leave the deepest mark? Emily Grace Rowan never made headlines. She never crossed a stage or heard a standing ovation. But she left something more enduring than applause. She left remembrance through the small courage of waking up each day in a body that would not move, through the dignity of asking for something so simple yet so rarely given, to be called by her name. And in doing so, she taught everyone around her something extraordinary. She showed us that identity isn't built from the things we achieve, but from the truth that we exist, that being alive fully and consciously is enough to deserve attention, care, memory, because every time someone said her name, they weren't just honoring her, they were unlearning something. something this world teaches too easily, that if someone is silent, they have nothing to say, that if someone is still, they are already gone. But Emily was never gone. She was always there, waiting, watching, feeling everything. And now, in the soft rustle of leaves near room 9, in the chime of wind passing through the hospital garden, in the way a nurse pauses before greeting a patient, you can hear it. Emily Grace Rowan, not lost, not forgotten, but spoken and carried forward, one name at a time. How many names do we forget in a day? The barista, the bus driver, the patient in bed, 12, the friend we haven't called, the voice we never heard. Emily Grace Rowan's story is a reminder that every name holds a story, and every story deserves to be spoken with love. If her life moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Say someone's name today, not out of habit, but with intention. Let it land, let it matter. Leave a comment below with the words, "I see you, Emily Grace Rowan," so her name continues to echo through kindness, not silence. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded you don't have to speak to be heard. You don't have to walk to move someone. You don't have to shout to change the world. And if you believe in honoring every kind of strength, seen and unseen, subscribe to this channel. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we remember them, we carry them, and together we speak the names that others have forgotten, one by one, softly, bravely, forever.